The subject of today's episode has many faces and many names. Pollo frito, karage, milanese, yamyong, laziji. A universal language to describe a single idea, a dream, a fantasy. Fried chicken. This episode is brought to you by Cook Unity. As someone who's obviously passionate about at-home dining, Cook Unity has brought a new solution to my table. Unlike conventional food delivery services, Cook Unity operates as a chef-to-you platform, delivering exceptional restaurant-quality meals directly to your doorstep. They're so good that our crew eats them on shoot days instead of ordering in. Today I'm trying the Chana Masala by Chef Lena El Kusi. Other favorites of mine are the jammed-down jerked chicken thighs by Chef Arti Sampath and penne with spicy pink sauce by Chef John DeLucci. Real chefs, real flavors, that's what I love about Cook Unity. Upgrade your dining game at cookunity.com/Babish50 or click the link below. Using my code Babish50 supports this channel and also gets you an exclusive 50% off your first order. Fried chicken. I've made a lot of fried chicken on this channel. Practically every food YouTuber has. So I have a whole bunch of different techniques that I've tried out, some secrets that I've learned along the way, but there's still a lot I want to figure out. So this episode, I'm going to be doing a little bit of science and gathering empirical data for perhaps the first time in my life. I'm going to test out several of the most essential aspects of fried chicken: the brining, the dredging, wet dredge versus dry dredge, different starches, different flours, different breading components, and a whole bunch of other little tips and tricks thrown in there. And what should result at the end of today is the be-all and end-all, absolute, perfect fried chicken technique. That sounds a little lofty, but it's going to be really good. We're going to make a really good one. So let's get testing. Brining is basically the process of introducing meats to acids or salts or both in a liquid or dry format. But then there's the question, do you do it wet or you do it dry?
Come on, everybody likes it wet, right?
I guess that depends on what we're talking about. Do we like funerals wet? Do we like butts wet?
I thought we were talking about fried chicken.
Yeah, but you were trying to make a sex thing. In the case of brining, I think dry brining is going to work better because with wet brine, you're introducing all this moisture to the chicken, and moisture evaporating, creating steam, is what causes a gap to form often between the meat and the breading. So I'm going to use chicken breast tenderloins, not just because I like flopping them around, but also because there's no skin, there's no fat, there's no place for a gap to hide. First for the dry, simply enough, I'm just going to sprinkle it with kosher salt. This is going to at first draw moisture out of the meat, and then that moisture is going to get reabsorbed after about 45 minutes to an hour, creating a tacky, sticky exterior, perfect for hanging on to and clinging to batter. Now for the wet mixture, I'm going to do a very common combination of buttermilk, salt, and egg. This isn't about flavor. We're trying to figure out what is going to cause the biggest moisture buildup and gap inside the chicken. And now both these guys are going into the fridge for at least 6 hours, up to 24 if you really want to go crazy. Okay, these guys have been brining for about 6 hours, so now I'm going to simply bread and fry them at 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Grab these guys straight out of their marinade and just plop. It's a mesmerizing thing, watching something fry. You feel so much concern for it and like you need to manipulate and check on it, but there's really nothing you can do. It's just got to do its job. Okay, that's 5 minutes. Something's interesting. They have a bunch of dark spots on them. It looks like moisture building up and needing to escape and then burning when it hits the oil. It's kind of gross looking. So now I'm just going to use this same buttermilk egg mixture to dip these guys in because it's effectively just the normal fried chicken dip. This dry brine chicken has a nice tacky texture on the outside, which is exactly what we want to grab onto the liquid. Wow, that is crazy. I can't wait to show you guys this up close. Like, this is fascinating. And it's answering so many questions for me I didn't even know I had. Look at what happened in the buttermilk brine one. I think the chicken becomes so moist that all this extra liquid is evaporating and needing to escape the breading, and it ends up pushing its way out, and you end up with this dotty fried chicken. That's happened to me so many times, and I never knew why. Wow. That is just Gap City right there. Look at that. There is zero adhesion to the chicken. All that to be said, it's quite tasty. It's very moist from the buttermilk brine. It's got lots of great flavor. Entire life, I've always been like, buttermilk brine, only way to go. Fried chicken, 100%, America. No, dude. I've made it more tender, made it more juicy, but at the expense of a crust that even thinks that it's part of the production here. It's off somewhere, smoking weed in its Trans Am, tooling around town, looking cool as shit, but being kind of an asshole. Okay, that's 5 minutes on this batch. Let's see what happens when I slice inside. Some slight separation, but you can see the crust is significantly more adhered to the meat. I gotta say, I think it's just as delicious. Like, you're still, I think, getting some buttermilk flavor from the dip, and this is perfectly juicy and tender. It's because it was dry brined. I really think this is the better way to go.
Come on. Everybody likes it spicy, right?
What? All right, so we've determined that dry brine is best. So now we need to introduce some more flavor, some of those 11 secret herbs and spices, or in my case, 7 or 8 or so. So we're starting with a half cup of kosher salt, to which I'm going to add pretty much an equal amount of each of these spices, except for the cayenne pepper. Half a teaspoon of garlic powder, onion powder, white pepper, celery salt, sweet paprika, ground mustard, maybe like half, depending on how much kick you want this chicken to have. If you added a whole half teaspoon, it's not gonna be spicy. It's just gonna have more attitude about it. I'm gonna do between a quarter to a half teaspoon of cayenne pepper, depending on how you like your business. And lastly, we have MSG, an absolute essential. I'm not even gonna measure this. I'm just gonna throw in about a tablespoon's worth. It's a salt substitute, so like, it's fine. We're just gonna mix these guys together, and you know, it's salt, but I'm still gonna taste it for seasoning. That's great. It's salt, so that's hitting me hard, but the MSG brings this whole other dimension to it that, like, it's gonna be subtle, especially in that amount, but it's going to make a difference. So this is what we're gonna coat our chicken with.
Come on. Everybody likes getting dredged, right?
I don't know, have you ever been dredged?
I don't know what that means, to be honest.
And why are you asking me such a question? I can tell you that I don't think anybody likes getting dredged. Chicken, however, loves it. Next up, flours and starches. Unless you're making batter fried chicken, you need a dry dredge to finish the breading with. Usually that means flour, but adding different starches, different combinations of flours can give you more crispness, lightness, airiness, sometimes at the cost of color, sometimes at the cost of flavor. So I want to try each and every one of these starches. I'm going to do a 50-50 mix of flour plus one of these and see what attributes it ends up giving to the chicken, so we can make a master blend of sorts. For the wet element, I'm just going to make something super basic, a beaten egg and some buttermilk. This should create plenty of adhesion. I'm going to go dry, wet, dry for each one of these, and then I'm going to fry at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, so that way we can really focus on what each starch or flour is doing to the crust. There is our plain ass flour, and it's crisp, but it's definitely starting to soften, still nice and hot, so it's good. It's just a normal homemade fried chicken. Nothing wrong with that. In fact, there's many things right with that. You can see some of the breading is indeed quite flabby. Gotta hit the gym. Not ideal. It's definitely not as crispy as it could be. Next up, we have the semolina flour. This already feels a lot more crisp. You can probably hear that. Yeah, it definitely stayed crispy longer. Well, it works with seafood. I don't see why it wouldn't work with chicken. Corn flour. This one smelled kind of like McDonald's when I was frying it. Nah, nope. Not nearly as crisp as either of the first two entrants. Now we have chickpea flour. This one feels pretty flabby already, and it has all these bubbles all over it. I have no idea what could be causing that. Some kind of science, I imagine. Oh. Nope. Not even resembling crispy. The potato flake one looks dank. I really wanted to see what would happen if you made fried chicken with dehydrated potato flakes, basically instant mashed potatoes. It definitely feels too flexible. There's lots of big, crispy, craggly bits on the outside, but the base layer of breading is very soft. Exceedingly crunchy, not crisp. I don't know, adding potato flakes, not unlike corn flakes or potato chips or anything, or pretzels, anything else you like to throw into your breading, this might be a viable option. It adds a definite flavor too, not like French fries, but more like Andy Cap bagged fries. You know, they're like chips, but they're fries. That kind of flavor. It's good. I have so much fried chicken to eat, but it's good. Cornstarch smells kind of funny, and it's not as crisp as I expected. I was expecting this to be quite crisp. It's just not nearly as crisp as I imagined it was going to be. Maybe I added it in too high a ratio. As a major ingredient, it's definitely not the way to go. Definitely having an effect in terms of the crispness, but this needs a better base layer. It might be because I used it as the base layer. I shouldn't have done that. Let's try out this rice flour. Already it feels good. It's a light, airy crunch. There's definitely an improved flavor too. It might be from frying so many things in the oil and it's starting to pick up those flavors. And this browned really nicely and quickly. So I think this is going to end up in our final mixture because it's definitely bringing new attributes to the table and it browns well. Let's try the potato starch. It feels good. It feels nice and crisp. This one has a really good rigidity to it. Like it doesn't have much play. As far as starches go, seems like a good one. I'm gonna hang on to that one up here in my brain hole. Okay, we have not terribly good rigidity. I can bend that as though it were a child's toy. It's probably the strongest layer of breading. Like, it's flexible. I can bend it around and I won't break the breading. And it's glued to the chicken. It's not going anywhere. I can barely peel it off. Some really interesting experiments here. I think there's definitely stuff I want to toy with or maybe make a master blend of. Flour, obviously, we need that. Semolina, it added a really great crunch. This is still crunchy too. Like this is still good. And rice flour did quite well. Browned a little better than starches, and it added great flavor, and it gave it this really light, airy crunch. I think rice flour is a keeper. The tapioca starch, I definitely think, has some unexpected binding properties. Like it's just made this a very structurally sound piece of chicken, so that could play a role as well. So I'm going to noodle on these flours and starches and try to come up with a master blend for our final fried chicken. Babish Cookware. The decision is clear-cut.
Come on. Everybody likes not resting, right?
One of the greatest debates still raging on the fried chicken battlefield is, do you let the chicken rest after breading it before frying it? People swear that one method or another will cause breading to stick better. So, easy way to test this out. I have a couple chicken tenders here that have been sitting in the breading for 30 minutes. It's hydrated a lot. It's soaked up a lot of the egg. We'll see if it makes it stick better. So let's find out what happens when you believe what you read on the internet. All right, there's our rested chicken tenders. Now, I'm just gonna do a super standard immediate bread and fry. And here's our fresh breaded boys. Let's see what the gap situation is looking like. And there is one. It's adhered to it relatively well. No, it's well adhered. I take that back. This is actually sticking to it quite well. Let's see what happens with the fresh bread. Okay, no. The rested one most assuredly has a bigger gap. You can see the stark difference. This breading is really well adhered. You have to really push at it to peel it off. This, it's adhered, but it is ready to pop off. I'm not a scientist. I cannot tell you definitively which one of these works better, but in my personal experience just now, letting it rest does not work better. Personally, for my ultimate fried chicken, I'm gonna fresh bread. I'm not gonna let it sit around for too long. It's good tendy.
Come on. Everybody likes getting double fried, right?
You know, man, I think this bit's getting old. It's the rule of threes, not the rule of, what are we on right now?
5.
Fives? That doesn't even sound right. Single fry versus double fry. This one kind of speaks for itself. In one case, you fry once at a high temperature. With a double fry, you fry once at a lower temperature, like 315 degrees Fahrenheit, and then you crank it up to 400 and fry a second time. This basically allows all the moisture that the breading is soaked up to evaporate in the hot oil, so it ends up being way, way crispier. My other hope is it will reduce the gap that forms between the meat and the breading, because one of the many reasons why that occurs is because you've got muscle fibers contracting very quickly. And by cooking at a lower temperature, in theory, those muscle fibers should contract more slowly. I'm hoping that will result in better crust adhesion. Wow, that looks good. Very light in color. We're gonna let this rest for maybe 5 minutes before plunging it into a much hotter oil bath. For the normie chicken, we're just frying right at 375 Fahrenheit. Standard procedure. Things are browning up much more quickly, as is to be expected, given the laws of thermodynamics. I'm actually not sure if that's what the laws of thermodynamics are. All right, there's our classic fried chicken. Very interestingly, it did not form as many craggles and as rough a surface as the low temperature fried one. On this episode, I'm gonna have a lot of findings without many explanations. I hope that's okay. So now I'm cranking the oil all the way up to 400 degrees Fahrenheit to flash this guy hot and fast. It's gonna sputter because there is moisture accumulating. Just watch your eyes and your groin. All right, that's looking beautiful. All right, so here is our classic fried chicken, single fry, 375. It's fried chicken. It's good. Let's see if this guy fares any better. Oh, man. Not only is the crust way crispier because we've driven so much moisture out of it, but also, for some reason, in the initial low temp fry, all these extra big flaky craggles formed. I've never seen that before because I've never A/B'd this before. A better product in every metric. This is just like way better. So, one big secret to making great fried chicken is double frying. First at a low temperature, second at a high temperature.
So, deep fry versus shallow frying.
Come on, man. Doesn't everybody like it deep? Now on to the cooking vessel itself. Should you deep fry fried chicken or shallow fry it? I've seen people on the internet swear by shallow frying because the direct heat at the bottom of the pan can apparently help the crust adhere to the meat and will keep it crispier. It's much more romantic to look at it frying in a cast iron pan like that. I'm gonna try to flip this nice and early to establish the crust on both sides. The cast iron version is definitely gonna take longer because we can only really cook it one half at a time. It's got great color on it. It definitely got darker color faster than the deep fried version, but this is looking great. I'm gonna pull it. Oh, this stove is gonna need a top to bottom kind of cleaning. Ow, that hurt. And it's because there's huge holes in this. That's insane. Hole number one, is that the skin that's doing that? It might have been the skin contracting and pulling the breading apart, but no such thing happened here. It's the exact opposite thing that I was led to believe. Not only does putting it on the bottom of the pan compress all the craggles, you can see these craggles that were forced down and flat by resting on the pan. Look, it's completely flat on the sides that were resting on the pan. So you got no light, craggly crisp like this guy. All this stuff gets to float freely. Kind of average everything. Decent crust adhesion. There's definitely a gap, but it's so sturdy that it hangs on just fine. All right, now we have the pan-fried version. Just want to see if this must be the skin. Yes, that is the skin. So this crack was caused by the skin retracting. It comes right off real easy though. There is a definite gap. That takes some effort for me to pull off. Like, it is bonded to the chicken to some degree. This is hardly. I will say, slightly better crunch, a little bit more flavor, probably from the direct heat contact, but worse crust adhesion. It doesn't stick to the meat as well. Gaps opened up that didn't on this one. So I'm inclined to think that this is down home and beautiful and something that's worth taking pictures of and taking video of. But as far as technique goes, it's not the way I'm going to go. I'm going to go deep fried. So far, every tip and trick I've been taught over the years is being upended.
Tempura fried chicken. Is this cultural appropriation?
No. But it could be a very effective way to adhere our dry dredge to the chicken while making every layer super crispy. Tempura, while frying up a lot lighter in color, is really light and airy and crisp, and it requires no powder coating. It requires no flour coating before application. So it's got me wondering, if we were to make a sort of hybrid tempura batter, I like the potato starch. It browned a little bit faster. It gave great crisp and good flavor too. 50 grams of potato starch, 1 egg, about 100 grams of buttermilk, 80 grams of vodka. And normally you don't want to introduce more water into this situation, but most tempura batters are water-based, so this one will be too. I'm gonna add about 120 grams of ice cold water. And why not? Let's throw some MSG in there. It's gonna make things taste better. We're looking for consistency of like heavy cream. Looks like a very, very light batter. Might need to thicken that up further, maybe with flour. Let's do 25 grams of flour. Let's try that. We can always thicken it up. I really like the tapioca flour for the sort of barrier that it created. It created this like flexible layer that held the crunches on top. So I'm thinking we start by coating the chicken in tapioca flour, dip it in our tempura batter, and then roll it in flour. See what that does. Didn't grab onto any of these craggles in the flour, I think because it was too thin to be able to support them. So I had added 25 grams of flour. I'm gonna add another 25. There we go. We're in double cream territory. How's this guy looking? Got some cracks, I think, forming. All right, knock off the excess starch. Let's see how this stuff behaves. Oh, way better, way better. I like the look of that so much better. I think I wouldn't mind it even thicker, but this does feel a lot more robust. Like it's got more body to it. So let's pull this guy, he's looking done. And let's try out this guy for a change. I am gonna try adding 25 more grams of flour, maybe like 20 grams, just to keep it proportional. I know it's not an exact science, but then again, I never said it would be, so. Let's see, this guy, looking good. Let's try the one more test. Thickest yet. I'm gonna try the first one. This is the thinnest batter. It looks really intact. Like there's no major cracks where I can see through the meat, even over this big exposed patch. It's also like really crispy. Like wait till you hear this. That works. Let's try the medium thickness one. Whoa, feels really crispy. Wow. You can actually see how sturdy the crust is. The shatters are in these definite shapes. Okay, here is our thickest tempura batter version. It feels insultingly crisp, like it is, wow, it's strong. If I press on the crust, there's no give whatsoever. It just cracks. Look at that. This piece is flying off. I don't use this word often, and I don't say it lightly. That's fabtacular. The parts where the meat is exposed, it's just glued to it, and it's so crispy. Wow. So I think we've definitely landed on something special here, a tempura breaded hybrid. Onward to the master fried chicken recipe.
Come on, master fried chicken recipe? This one's probably pretty difficult, right?
Well, mastery asketh not for your time, it asketh only for your patience and time.
What?
All right, so we've had a lot of fun, we've done a lot of experimenting, and we've learned a thing or two, just like college if you did it right. Between all these experiments, I've done a lot of little experiments of my own, also with the help of my culinary producer, Rachel. So we've tried a whole bunch of different iterations of this, and we've landed on a formula that I think might just goddamn work. There's only one way to find out. It's time to make the ultimate fried chicken. So a big part of fried chicken obviously is fat, and I've experimented over the years and over the past few days with different combinations, different flavors, and my favorite continues to be a 50-50 mix of lard and peanut oil. Now there's a couple things to look out for here. You want to make sure that you've got refined lard and refined peanut oil. Highly refined, processed, and it's got a higher smoke point closer to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, which is exactly where we want to go. So I'm gonna mix these together. We've got our chicken brining and our fat melting. What about our breading? First up, the wet stage, and I'm going with this sort of hybrid tempura batter. Now, this is going to create an adhesive layer that itself cooks up crispy, so it should make the whole thing hilariously crispy. First, for our dry ingredients, I have 75 grams of all-purpose flour, and I have 50 grams of potato starch. A pinch of salt. Give that a little whisking just to get any potato starch lumps out of there. Now for the liquid elements, we have 100 grams of buttermilk, and we have 30 grams of liquid egg whites. Egg yolks have a lot of fat in them, and that can cause the breading to soften. So this should give the same kind of structure without any of the fat. 25 grams of vodka, and then 120 grams of cold seltzer. It is important to fold tempura batter together rather than whisk it. It's okay if there's lumps in it. It's kind of like pancake batter. You don't want to overdo it, otherwise you're gonna have a gummy sort of texture to everything. There we go, and you should end up with something that has the consistency of like a lumpy, thin paint or like a very, very thick cream. Somewhere between paint and cream, that's where you'll find me. We'll be right back after these unimportant messages from non-sponsors. Babish cookware. Checkmate, atheists. Now for the dry stuff, and you'll notice that I'm using two very different bowls here. I have a wide, shallower bowl for the dry, and I have a taller, more narrow bowl for the wet. That's gonna help me submerge chicken pieces more easily, and then in the wider, shallower bowl, this is gonna help me toss and press and really, manipulate them more easily. So we've got 300 grams of all-purpose flour, hefty pinch of salt. Now, I really like the way that this white rice flour behaved, and it should slow down the rate of browning a little bit, which is good because I'm starting to use big whole chicken pieces, which need longer time to cook. It's 300 grams of flour. I'm gonna add like 50 grams of white rice flour. Now, as per always, even with this tempura batter, we're gonna grab a little spoonful of the wet, add it to the dry. Makes these little craggles, makes these little pieces of breading that make the chicken extra super crispy. All right, let's get our hands dirty, so to speak. So let's start with these breast halves. Now, of course, you could do wet hand, dry hand technique, but I've been making chicken all day and I'm kind of beyond caring. So that's what I'm gonna do here. You can see that it's adhering to the chicken extraordinarily well. Like, this has no dry flour coating to try and help with that. It's just on there for sure, for serious, for always. I want to make sure that these guys get powdered immediately. As soon as they get in there, like, cover them up, because if you just start tossing them around while they're only half covered in flour, the wet is going to start to smudge off as you manipulate them. And this is going to get you more craggles. See how many craggles attached to it now? All those little bits? There they are. I have this at about 320, and my hope is that adding all this chicken is going to bring it down to 300. Oh man, that already smells great. I've actually never tried this particular technique with a double fry. And I'm not joking when I tell you this. It might be too crispy. It might be too crispy. Oh man, look at how freaking craggly they are. They have the most beautiful texture of any fried chicken I've ever seen. I just want a little blonde color on these. We're not there yet. The great thing about the slow and low is that it's gonna pretty much cook the chicken through. Any dark meat pieces might be undercooked in that they should be up around 185 and they're at 160 or something, but it's ready to be either, just hang out at room temperature for like 30 minutes or go in the fridge wrapped up overnight to be fried hot and fast the next day. You're going to have the best fried chicken in the world. I can't believe this. These are only par fried. They should be soggy as shit right now, but they're already a little crunchy. Wow. Look at the crust on these things. All right, I'm going to start pulling them out because they're starting to look pretty blonde. I'm going to kill the heat because I need to strain this oil now. Spectacular. Ah, very important lesson. Never wear shorts like I'm wearing right now, but always do like I'm wearing right now. Wear leather shoes when you're deep frying. They're not going to protect you from everything, but they will give you a little protection. There's our 10-piece bucket meal. So I'm going to let those sit for about 30 minutes, and in that time, I'm going to strain the oil because now it's full of all this particulate that's going to burn when we get up to 400. Let's get this oil carefully back into its now clean vessel. You'll notice that I'm using a high-walled saute pan. I would not recommend you doing this. I'm doing it so you can still see what's going on. I would recommend using a Dutch oven, something high-walled and heavy that's going to retain heat and protect you from splatters. So now I'm going to crank this guy back up to like 375. I'm going to see if I can hit 400, but I don't want to smoke that lard. So I think 375 is going to be plenty hot. We're going to put our cooled chicken there. It's going to spit and spatter. It's going to be a little scary, but it's all the moisture that's been absorbed by the crust cooking off. For this final fry, I want you to join me in a guided meditation. Please close your eyes, take a deep breath. Imagine chicken so craggly it defies crag expectation. Crust so glassy crisp you mistake it with the bone-dry sands of the Kalahari. Meat so moist and tender you'll wonder if it's your own. Visuals so divine you'll forget entirely that I forgot to hit record on the stove cam. So we don't have any footage of this final fry coming out of the oil. Take yourself there and forgive me unconditionally. Isn't that nice?
I thought so. I think we had a breakthrough here today.
Yeah. Oh, it's so crispy. It's so crunchy. Oh my God. There you have it, folks. My ultimate fried chicken. This is probably going to be the best fried chicken I've ever had. This chicken is crispy. Oh, it's just perfect. Those subtle spices from the dry brine are bringing that classic fried chicken flavor. Lard smells like death, makes fried chicken taste like life. Like unreal. And the crust is just so powerfully both crispy and crunchy. It has crunchy bits on the outside and it's crispy on the inside. No part of this is not crispy. That is so special. I'm so thrilled to have not only been able to figure this out, but to now get to share it with you guys. It's way fussier than most fried chicken recipes. It requires a couple specialty ingredients, some vodka, some potato starch, stuff like that. But it all comes together to make something truly, like I don't think you've had fried chicken like this before. It's crunchy in a new kind of way. No part of it isn't crispy or crunchy. The chicken is so juicy and flavorful from the dry brine, from the different fats we're frying in. There's so much going on here. It's utterly classic fried chicken, but everything about it is amplified. Everything about it is louder and stronger and crunchier and more flavorful. And I'm so thrilled that now you guys get to try this if you want. I think I might have learned more making this episode than I have in any other. And all it took was trying things and seeing what happens. Part of this show, part of this channel has always been embracing failure because it leads to new successes. And that's exactly what this episode was about. Controlled, observed failure in pursuit of the greatest success of all. Very, very crispy fried chicken. Please let me know in the comments what recipe or dish you want to see me workshop the hell out of next to create the ultimate version. Thank you so much for watching. Keep it crispy out there. From all of us here at Babish International Studios Pictures Incorporated. Logistics. and Sons. Thank you. And go fry some chicken before I love you to death. Thanks so much again to Cook Unity for sponsoring this episode. With dishes meticulously crafted by esteemed chefs like Food Network veterans to James Beard Award recipients, it feels as though you have the masters personally catering to your mealtime with a flexible schedule. With Cook Unity, you can set your preferences to call out what you like and don't like, then pick a plan and get menus tailored to your taste 2 weeks in advance. The Cook Unity menu offers over 10 dietary preferences, and there are 300 meals nationwide to choose from every week. Go to cookunity.com/Babish50 or click the link in the description and use my code Babish50 to get 50% off your first order of Cook Unity meals to try them out for yourself.
Come on. Everyone likes it wet, right?
Huh?
Come on. Everybody likes it spicy, right?
What?
Was that dredged?
Huh?